Our other and wonderful featured poet is going to bring this beautiful afternoon to a close in the lovely atmospheric King and Queen. Please welcome back to the DODO stage and Vaughan-Williams.
This is called Cycling, and it brings together Uganda and England in Rains Park. Cycling. I used to love to ride the hill, the beaten red earth road, cycling from up the offices, my long hair streaming in the sun, limbs dark brown from equatorial heat. I sailed my bike past cotton, coffee crops, gardens with hibiscus hedges, down to where the tall tree grew, a perch for crested cranes, their high view in the sky. They'd see the hills beyond our green enclave, my safe Kawanda home. I later leaned into the biting wind, ripping the land, flattening Norfolk flatter, myself astride my green bike's sturdy frame, pushing the pedals over the bumps of former ploughland, lungs at work to counteract the blast. At times a tyre went flat. I fixed the nozzle with frozen fingers, fearful of being late for school. I'd leave the bike, tethered to the Black Horse shed, waited for the school bus. Some days I'd cycle to the West Lynn ferry. At low tide, the mud banks rose like monstrous sides of slime above the boat, wending its fut-fut way inside the heavy salt of the sea. It skirted the swirling current as the great ooze turned to pour into the wash. The rocketing boat was lassoed to a stump. I'd keep my balance, satchel swinging, step up the creaky jetty, mustn't slip, hurry in the narrow lane to school. Today, a child came flashing past, reminded me of freedom in prevailing wind, hands lifted from the bars, the surface smooth, the jolts of puddles taken, seat absorbing frictions, wheels covering distances, applying the brakes in time, or maybe not, sometimes falling off, to tumble into grasses, lie watching the sky, the same cloud shapes I knew at Kawanda. This one was, the heart of our family was my granny, Granny Kay, in an old Victorian house, the Laurels, down the marsh at Terrington St Clement in Norfolk. Granny Kay at the Laurels. Hers was a red brick house with tall chimneys, where people met each other. All of us related. We belonged. She'd pull us down to her height for a fierce hug. Cheeks were soft, clothing was warm. Children must go out and play. No toys, no bicycles, no trees to climb. No horses and carts, not on a Sunday, no tractors chug. But there were hayricks to mount and slide off. There was the narrow farm road to run along, carried by the wind or breasting it. There were fences to squeeze through, mind the stinging nettles, use a dock leaf. There were cattle to watch, fly-infested cowpats to avoid. I still see cigar-like heads of bulrushes growing in the reed-filled pit we were not to enter. There were cows in their stalls, swinging their tails, waiting for the milking, the clunk of a bucket. There was a wrinkly calf to feed with a rubber teat, foamy milk around the urgent mouth. The clang of a bell called us back from the yards. High tea being served, hurry along in. Hands must be washed. Then we'd set to on buttered slices of thin bread to spread with potted meat, or jam from the black currants we had plucked in handfuls. Granny poured the tea into the clamouring porcelain cups, printed with violets like those in her spinney, her teapot tarnished from endless use. A fire on the hearth kept the sitting room warm. My grandfather and his sons came stumping in from the office, brought accents of the farm. That last time we stayed, there were no relations. There was only a bar heater singeing my legs, Wellington boots stacked, the farmyard deserted, the office door locked. One of the former maids wheeled the trolley into the dining room. We were watched by ancestors peering from the walls in white collars and lace, keeping their positions against thick wallpaper. After Granny died, people we didn't know pulled down the buildings, turned the sheds to firewood, axed the elms where the rooks would noisily settle, battling with Siberian winds. This one is a mother's poem. My son disappeared to Russia, and at that time, I think it was 1990s, there was not very much communication. You couldn't even have a phone call. Or if you did, there was the landlady who just laughed, and I just laughed, and there wasn't anything that we could say to each other except Robin OK. At sea. If you should fade away or disappear, on one of your travels, say to the Caucasus, head well furred, hands well gloved, no fuss, the layers of clothing thick and thin, you'd swear, a call might come, voices in a background unclear, click, merd, schlick, una, due, pushed. If, say, you didn't email me through August, never phoned once or twice as you promised, and time passed on to Christmas and New Year, I can't think what I'd do or how I'd cope. I can't begin to imagine how I'd adjust to the lack of contact, emails, letters, you, at my beck and call. Beck and call? I don't need to mope. I know you're coming, smiling. You must, or else, be honest, did I upset you? Upset you? I know you're coming, smiling. You must, or I'll wait until you do. And I tried to ask my daughter if she minded me reading this one, because she's moved on rather a long way since she was first a university student and disappeared as far away from home as she could get, up to Liverpool. She wanted a city as big as London, but as far away as possible. And I was instructed to redecorate her room. So perhaps this is me getting back at her, I'm not sure. Journey round my daughter's room. John Lennon posters, Mr. Mann books, Wembley Arena, Manchester Arena, Newcastle Arena. Here are postcards she has left. Being a student is totally great, because you don't really have to grow up. I will strip her room to redecorate. Bonsai ABC, light, humidity, water, feeding. She has that tree on her windowsill at college. Her treatments she left here. Clean, clear, foaming facial. Johnson's Baby Moisturising Lotion, Lafroid Whiskey, no half measures. On the back of a postcard, just to remind me of that chat we had about opinion, fact and truth, or whatever it was, from her friend. Black cat, tabby cat, tiger, cover the Care Bear wallpaper. All in a row the cassettes, God's Great Banana Skin, Damien, Paul, Ray, Lou, Blur, the girl who wanted to be God. This music of her room she'd open, let it out, then shut up inside. A baby white seal, nose to the ice, stared into her eyes, stares into mine. Just go to parties with loads of cheap booze, then drink it until you throw up. Purple Ronnie, cool. I nod off. Put your tree in a bright location, natural light, compost soft. Assess the root ball, bonsai helpline. What's this new book? Reconstructing the quaternary. She is far beyond me now. You can choose bold colours, she instructed. I've included in this book a rather a long poem, my rendering of the Sumerian myth of Inanna and Ereshkigal. And Inanna is the queen of the upper world, and Ereshkigal is her rather unpleasant sister with the demons in the underworld. There are comparisons with Demeter, I think. But I thought I would just read you the last section, if I may. Her sister, Ereshkigal, hangs her on a hook and she turns to meat. So it has a rather nasty time. But she is healed by the insects who, so I'll start with, these insects lift her from the hook, on whirring wings carry her up, past every gate, where she retrieves the plain white robe girdled with keys of office, the rings of gold, the breastplate and the rod of power, her lapis lazuli jewels, and then, at last, her turbaned crown. The demons will not leave her, demand in her place Ninshubur, her servant, there to greet her now, her body smeared with ash. Inanna won't release to them her servant who has saved her. The winter's over now. Inanna's body warms. She feels the earth move with eager growth, the seeds, the reeds, the waters. Sap runs freely in the land. On beetles' wings down rainbow sheen, on grasshopper good lakes, Inanna's borne aloft. Aconites throw paths of gold, green are the sprays of trees in bud, pink are the blossoms, bluebells deck the forest paths. Birds sing sweetest notes on wafted winds, branches reach out their welcome. Breezes stir her thickening hair, as hawthorn burst along the easy lanes. Spring, in slow infusion, has returned.
Thank you very much, Anne Vaughan-Williams. Later on, you can stay after the reading, but don't drink until you throw up. very well. So before I give a final tribute to our wonderful featured poets this afternoon, I just want to read out the names of all the poets who've read from the floor, and then I want you to, put your hands together or something. So Patrick Cunane, Lantern Carrier, Frank Crocker, Kate B. Hall, John Hurley, P.R. Murray, Robert Drury, George McGillivray, Joe Silver, Christine Eales and Steve White. And two, I think you'll agree, absolutely wonderful featured poets this afternoon who gave us so much. Eleanor Stevanovska. Incomparable, Anne Vaughan-Williams. That's it. Sign the email form if you want to be sent emails by us, and the bar's open, and enjoy yourself. So thank you for coming. We're back on the 25th of April.